Welcome to the Fantastic Fogies Happy Hour, where I'll get happy, or it'll take at least an hour. As you know, in this edition of the Happy Hour, as with every edition of the Happy Hour, I answer the questions you pose to the best of my ability. Tonight's a little bit different than previous Happy Hours. It won't be strictly political in nature, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. Let's start with our first question. It comes from Phil, a venomous snake charmer from Poughkeepsie, New York, and he asks, what's the closest thing to real magic? Well, Phil, that's a tough one. First off, I'd have to say it's blockchain technology. It has been explained to me several occasions, but all I can ever hear when those experts are droning on and on about it is the phrase defense against the dark arts. More magical even than that is making Joe Biden look coherent. Talk about real sorcery, Phil. Woo! Number 2 comes from Valerie. She's a virtual lemonade stand consultant from Rockville, Illinois. And she asks, what will finally break the internet? Well, too late, Valerie. Already broken. Sorry to say, that's already been done by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey and Facebook CEO Jeffrey Zuckerberg, who took access to information of every type, factual, fictional, funny, and useless, and turned it into a liberal wasteland. Thanks for that, boys. Jerry, a habitual hermit and longtime herbivore from Carmen, Idaho, wants to know this. What Democrats would you rate as a perfect 10? That's a hard one, and it's going to require some math, but I'd have to say the following. Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Mazie Hirono, and the avowed Democrat socialist Bernie Sanders. 3 threes and a 1. I think that adds up to 10. Molly is a dog whisperer and full-time lactation specialist from Erie, Pennsylvania, and she wants to know, what quote or saying do people spout but is completely BS? Well, that one requires a sip of beverage. And it requires a lot of thought. And it's pretty simply this. That's a toughie too, and none of these questions have been easy. But I'd have to say, number 1 is the phrase, we'll get through this together. And a close second to that is the phrase, I'm only human. In the first phrase, people who don't care a whit for one another claim that getting through whatever this is can only be done together. It implies that we're all of one mind. And we know that's not true, but I think it is true of those that use that phrase insofar as they only have one mind. And I think they share it with one another. In the second phrase, this one's completely nonsense. No one is only human. They're also petty, stupid, and fat. Just kidding. Well, I know one thing. We'll get through this together because we're only human. Our last question today comes from Anthony, a vegetarian lover and former foot spokesmodel from Cheney, Washington. He wants to know, what is something that everyone looks stupid doing? Easy peasy, Anthony. Number 1, walking through a spider web because it makes anyone look like they're fighting off an imaginary giant vampire bat. And a close second to that, only by a small margin, is voting Democrat. That's the Happy Hour. I'm the Fantastic Fogey. God bless and good night.